Good evening, everyone. Before we delve deep into this week's chaotic adventure, we would just like to quickly remind you all that we will be at Dragonmeet this Saturday, the 30th of November, at the Novotel in Hammersmith, London. So what will we be doing there? Chaos, of course. Nikolai will be running his latest one-hour creation named The Halls of Chaos, with con attendees throughout the afternoon. If you'd like to join us, then drop us a message on social media or come sign up at the podcast zone on the day. We'd love you to join us. And what chaos can truly be complete without our Draw a Creature contest, returning once more, but with a slight difference this year. We have decided to push those who enter truly to madness, adding a 60-second timer to draw your submission. But don't fret, dearest friends, for although we foresee many cursing the last few grains of sand as they tick away, the reward for the best is worth it. Not just metal dice, but solid metal 24-carat gold-plated dice, donated to our cause by our kind sponsors, the marvellous D&Dice. So, will you join us for chaos? And push yourself to madness for the shiniest of shinies? Dragonmeet is but a few days away, my dearest friends. Come, seek chaos, for we have such sights to show you. But, for now, prepare to plummet.
Penance RPG and its affiliate sponsor, D&Dice, makers of dice for all types of heroes, proudly presents Plummet, Falling in the Dark, a Penance RPG adaptation. This barge tale, as is customary in these parts, may contain strong adult themes, cursing, and high adventure. For now, time turns, the path is open. Let the story commence.
Welcome to episode 38 of Plummet. Who are you? What are you? And to celebrate National Doorbell Day, what is your favourite doorbell noise? Starting with bell ring.
Hello, it's me, Belly. I am playing the harmless little lady. This is Butterwoth. I don't know, I was in a shop a couple of months ago in Newcastle, and they had a doorbell that played the Monster Hunter theme, and I thought that was pretty cool, but I didn't buy it.
Played what?
The Monster Hunter theme.
Oh, right.
That would have been a pretty cool doorbell, but I didn't buy it.
Why not?
Because I've already got a doorbell.
Could you not have it and put it on your bedroom?
I mean, in theory, yes, but also, that sounds really lame.
You might have a doorbell to your own bedroom.
Unless I had some sort of, manservant, and then I could summon him to bring me, Diet Coke and tequila sunrises with my Monster Hunter doorbell.
You could fetch your
Get one of
monkey
those
boxes.
a button for your desk like Trump has, that when you press it, instead of a Diet Coke company, you get your tequila sunrise.
Yeah, it raises out of the desk, out of an aperture.
Well, in fairness, this episode will go live, I think, around either the week before Dragonmeet or 2 weeks before Dragonmeet. So if anyone wants to come have a tequila sunrise with Belry, we will be at Dragonmeet.
I do enjoy tequila sunrises.
We will also be recording at Dragonmeet.
You will be.
I mean, yeah, but that's secondary to the tequila sunrises, even if they are, especially because they are really expensive in London.
Okay, I'm more stressed about the fact we're recording. You can worry about your tequila sunrises.
Yes, so if
Well,
anyone,
if you took a
if
tequila
anyone wants
sunrise,
to join Belry, Tequila Sunrise, the night before Dragon Meet or the night of Dragon Meet, we'll probably be wandering around, so come join us then. You will know us by the fact that Belray looks like a bad cop. Next we have AJ.
Hey, it's me, AJ, playing Professor Sinister. When it comes to doorbells, I'm just a fan of the classic ding dong. That's what it said in the tin. Either that or an awkward silence. One or the other.
Nothing says doorbell like awkward silence.
It's constantly ringing.
Constantly ringing until someone turns up and then goes silent for 30 seconds. And finally this week, in our very small cast week, we have Lenida.
Yes, it's me, Leonida, playing the still alive Stu Nin. And yeah, I think there was a movie where there's actually a doorbell that like throws insults at people when they come into I think it's a store or something like that. That would be awesome. So that's sort of my favorite doorbell. It's like, wanker, knucklehead, and stuff like that when people walk in. It's just...
So, you want a doorbell that insults your guests?
Yes, that would be funny as hell.
So, we would have more people, but Amy has currently got a bad tooth, and Squid is currently overburdened with work at the moment, and Ash is still getting used to a new job. So, with all those three away, we will continue with the story. So, what happened last week? Dragon, if you please.
After traversing the swirling portal, the party found themselves in a heap on the floor of a strangely warm room with a massive door at the other end, with equally strange whimpering sounds coming from beyond. Realising that their only means of exit was through this door, the party pressed on, opening the door to reveal a massive chamber containing several chained elves, humans, and dwarves. Before they could investigate further, a loud, gravel-like voice echoed throughout the chamber, berating a captain for his late arrival. Deciding that they should play it dumb, the party cautiously wandered forward and requested to this voice that they needed directions home. The voice demanded to know if they were sent on behalf of someone called McGillicuddy, and grew angered the more the party attempted to deflect any answers to this inquiry. Finally, the voice could take no more of their idiocy, and bellowed some ancient words, causing skeletons to rise from beneath the earth around the party, who took this as a fine excuse to scamper into one of the adjoining rooms, discovering it contained several large cauldrons with grinning, cackling imps. After scattering some of these imps and throwing several random items into the nearest cauldron, the party decided it best to pour its contents towards the skeletons. The greenish liquid sizzled upon meeting the stone floor before eating its way through, leaving behind a massive gaping hole, and finally granting a short respite to the panicked party. Discovering the vast selection of vials and potions arranged in cases next to the cauldrons, the party began haphazardly throwing some of these at the skeletons in order to better understand what was contained within. As one skeleton became dyed a strange yellow colour, another devoured in mere seconds by thousands of tiny red insects, while a third was transformed into an 8-foot tall demon with multiple eyes and canine features. The party realised there was some truly bizarre alchemy at work, as another vial shattered, creating a massive rainbow bridge that spanned across the gap between them and the skeletons, as well as breaking open a door leading away from the alchemical room. As the inevitable squabbling began, the party rushed over the bridge and into the next chamber. They could hear the demonic voice bellow its annoyance at their continued survival, and, as they looked up, could see hundreds of skittering flame spiders making their way down towards them. Following a scuffle with some skeleton guards, and the shattering of more vials, which caused the creation of a second massive rainbow bridge, an 8-foot-tall wedding cake, and a vast sprawling helter-skelter that broke both the ceiling and floor, the party found themselves in the treasure chamber at last. Convinced that magical dust she found was limb restoration dust, Stu poured it all over herself. Yet, instead of returning her limbs, Stu became insatiably hyper, running around and gibbering like a psychotic goblin. As the party watched Stu somehow defy gravity and rise through the ceiling on the helter-skelter, they rushed to join her. After more squabbling and several attempts to calm Stu down, the party discovered the balcony that the voice seemed to have spoken to them from before. Kicking down a nearby door, they found 3 fat goblins powering what seemed to be a false version of the demon itself. As Mrs. Butterworth grabbed the goblins by the ears and interrogated using her rolling pin, the party discovered the demon was, in fact, sleeping nearby. After a hyper Stu attempted several times to behead the demon with various implements, she was finally successful and ran from the room, whooping and cheering, dragging the gigantic demonic axe behind her like a small dog carrying a tree. As the madness began to settle, and Mrs. Butterwoth dispatched the remaining goblins, the party freed the prisoners before using a medallion they had found to create a new portal out of this crumbling realm and back to the filth-ridden streets of Nerrick Hall.
And lo, the story continues. So, after last week, when you were in a sort of wibbly-wobbly portal of doom, and you came back to the inn, you have all arrived back at the inn itself, and had a couple of days of recovery. And one day you are all sort of standing around the inn debating what to do when you get a runner turn up to you and say that Ebony Darkness has been sighted in the public parks, and you are to follow them immediately to come arrest him. What do you do?
Oh dear, that dreadful boy.
Yes, this seems to be a good time to actually get rid of him. But I wouldn't keep my hopes up. Maybe we should just check it out and see what's what.
Or maybe I'll make him my apprentice. Oh no, I meant to think that quietly rather than say it out loud. Perhaps they didn't notice. Carry on, everyone.
I was trying to think of a vocation that would have made sense, but I couldn't.
Well, at least we'll have some lighting if it's dark, so that's good.
I see.
You will pay the price for your lack of vision.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you all follow this messenger down to the entrance of the public park, and he points into the middle and says, "He's in there!"
Since you both guys are pretty useless, I'll take point and you just follow me.
Okay.
Let's do that.
I'm not useless, I just lead from the back.
Mm-hmm. That's what they all say.
They do all say that, yes.
So Stu is gonna take point.
Okay. So you make your way into the public park. To your left and to your right there are massive hedges, and in the middle there seems to be some gigantic sort of blooming red tree. And just over behind the blooming red tree you can see what looks like a robed figure channeling into a giant green portal.
Oh, well, that definitely looks familiar.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? Can I do a engineering check to see if there's anything worth noting?
You could, yes. As far as you can tell, it's just a rough stone and gravel path between you and Ebony, who lead around the edge of this big red tree. And he seems to be sort of standing in a clearing of grass, casting.
Okay, Mrs. Butterworth, how about you sort of just slowly make your way up to him and distract him? I mean, he won't harm an old lady. And
Perhaps give him one of your cookies.
yeah.
Or
And,
perhaps a
me
better
and,
candy.
Yes,
and,
whatever it is. Carrying that
Professor
bag of yours.
Yeah. Me and Professor
I was-
Sinister could perhaps do a little bit of a diversion or just sneak around behind him.
I will do what I want.
I was actually going to suggest might I do a nature on the suspicious and somewhat emblematic big red tree.
You can, yes.
Oh, it's just a tree.
Yep, to you, it's just a big red tree.
Oh, what a lovely shade of red.
Did not the kind of tree that some might find unnatural.
No, it's just a tree.
Very well.
Oh,
I
all
know
right.
I've seen a lot of trees in my time, Mr. Sinister.
Yes.
Well, if I just stop
Anyway.
listening to it. Okay, so,
You're all right there, young man. You're not cold. Do you want to borrow my scarf?
at this point, he swirls round and goes, "Oh, like, what are you doing here?"
It's a park. Everybody's allowed to go to the park.
No, like, this is like the public park. There
We
are
are
I wanted
rules.
to feed the ducks.
I am the public.
How long have you been waiting for an excuse to do one of them?
I don't plan anything with this character. I just drop Palpatine appropriate quotes when they come up.
I thought this was a completely original character.
It is loosely based on the.
I believe Stu will have been circling around and just is behind what's his face, Ebony. So I'm not with the other two now. Just been
Okay.
sneaking
His
about.
eyes grow black, and he seems to be channeling something with his hands.
How about a butter candy?
Like, they're bad for you? Like, they rot your brain?
Only your teeth, but you can get new ones of them, look.
And I'm going to do that thing that old people do where they push the teeth out with the tongue. Like the false teeth.
Okay, roll to keep your teeth in your mouth.
Mrs. Butterwoth, that is quite disgusting.
Yep, you do manage to keep your teeth in your mouth, that's fine. They don't fly out and go
Okay.
everywhere, so that's alright.
Have a butter candy, lad.
He continues to channel. The ground beneath all of your feet begins to turn black.
Oh dear.
I actually prefer it like this. This is good.
Stu is going to go for a running tackle.
Okay, roll. You run, you basically fly through Ebony as the ground beneath all of you disappears and you all plummet straight down. Can everyone do me a balance check, please?
Balance.
Oh, I'm not very steady on my feet.
Oh. It's my night tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mrs. Butterwoth lands on her right arm, just managing to break one of her fingers.
Oh, I need that for whisking.
Stu lands on her left arm and just manages quite a bad graze. So you're now in a sort of pitch black void. All around you seems to be this sort of like swirling purpley black mist.
Is it just me, or have I gone blind again?
No.
But take off your reading glasses, Mrs. Butterworth.
Oh, kinky.
I will not undress in your presence of another man. Take me out to dinner first, Mr. Sinister.
Professor, oh, whatever.
Well,
Maybe one day I'll be Mrs. Sinister.
She thinks to herself.
oh, you lovebirds, get to a hotel room.
There you go, everyone. Write your fan fictions now.
Everyone wants to write about a geriatric fuckfest.
Is that what we're renaming the show to?
Episode 38, the geriatric fuckfest, yep.
So, is there any way to get our readings down here?
It's just currently
Bearings.
like purpley smoke all the way around you. Do you want to investigate the smoke? Do you want to walk into it? Do you want to just look at it? What do you want to do?
Is there anything demonic about it?
Do me any demonology.
No.
You think it's completely safe.
What
So-
is
It's safe
the
enough for
smoke?
me.
Professor Sinister, you might want to try it up the smoke then.
What does the smoke smell like?
You want to go and breathe some in?
I mean, not a lot, but I feel like as an old lady,
Okay, give me a
Mrs. Butterworth probably has smoked a lot.
roll.
'Cause that's what we
She goes up and she breathes in and she goes, "It smells like feet."
That's a big gush.
Mrs. Butterworth's getting totally faded.
Yes, she is.
So what's Stu doing then?
Stu is just gonna carefully send her pet rat into the mist.
Is this
See what happens.
the formerly known as raspberry licorice or whatever the fuck it's called?
It was a long time ago, but
Blackcurrant licorice.
it's
Black
Kind of a-
licorice,
yeah.
that's it. Okay, so you're
That's
just
all
sending it
raspberry
randomly
licorice.
into the...
yeah. I'm just go sniff, rat.
Okay,
Black
give me a
combination.
normal d20 roll, see what happens. The rat disappears into the gloom. After a couple of seconds, you see a humanoid figure start staggering towards you. And it resembles a sort of small dwarf, and it looks at you, and you recognize it immediately as Igneous, and you hear his voice in your head going,
Why did you leave me?
Well, you know, you were sort of dead and stuff, so I had no choice.
I wasn't dead.
Well, of course
So
you
one
were.
sec. Did Igneous die?
no.
Nope.
At this point, from the opposite side of the smog comes another humanoid figure, who is quite obviously Barry B. Beesbury. And points at Stu and also says, "You left me to die as well."
It's not my fault.
What do you mean
guys
it's
weren't
not
keeping
your
up.
fault?
You left me
Well-
on top of the house with them birds.
Well, you seem to be more interested in building a fence for yourself than actually coming with us, so
They
Yeah.
didn't want to get killed by the birds. I know they live off but honey.
well, you didn't try either. If you don't try, you won't get anywhere here in society.
This is getting too philosophical for me.
I don't know who these people are, Stu, whatever your name is. But it sounds to me like they're accusing you of not taking responsibility for your actions.
Well, they might be, but I do. I'm leading from the front,
Doesn't
not in the
sound
back
like
like you.
Beware the birds.
They both begin to start walking forward and look quite menacingly at Stu.
Who are...
Oh, I'm shaking. Yeah,
I feel like this whole sequence would have been a bit more effective if there was more than one character who had any idea who these characters were.
Yes, probably. So, Stu is just gonna... You're not real. And then swing his sword at Igneous.
Okay, roll.
Me neglecting you.
Oh, I'm stuck
sorry.
between the two
Sorry.
accents now, Jesus.
Your sword manages to miss Igneous.
Second swing.
Ahar.
Second swing, go.
It's my
Very
knife
much
knife,
misses this time. Not even close.
That's no way to treat your friends, Stu. They've probably
Yeah.
just.
Well, I believe these are not my friends. I think this is some
If
evil
we ever
doings.
were...
Igneous reaches you and puts a very wet arm onto you. You notice that he is literally dripping wet as if he's crawled from under the sea. And he whispers to you that he will drag you back down to beneath the waves.
Everything's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me.
Well, I'll stay dry, thank you very much.
Yep, so
Suit yourself.
and at this point Barry also reaches you and puts his arm onto you and says that the birds are coming to take you to the sky.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Birds.
This is going to be really interesting.
Sounds to me like you're going to be torn from above and below.
No, I think these guys need to come to an agreement first. If they want to take me down below or upstairs.
Yeah, Igneous, how we're going to split custody?
Perhaps a cider drinking contest. I feel like I've lost the accent a little bit. That's fine. I'm a strange smoke phantom. I don't have to be 100% accurate.
Yeah, I'm a weird facsimile of my original character.
You'll find you're astral projecting.
Oh, is that what's happening? Oh,
Fuck
thank you, omnipotent voice of the smoke.
Oh, fuck knows.
So, guys, you want to help me out here, perhaps? Instead of just standing there looking awfully silly.
Well, not with that kind of attitude, no.
I won't stand for that kind of backchat, young lady.
Mrs. Butterwoth beats Stu to death. So that would be in keeping with the other backchat she's gotten from character.
So what is Mrs. Butterwoth going to do, Barry?
I don't want to beat Stu to death with a rolling pin. I feel like that's a bit uncalled for. We'll break character momentarily. Don't want that.
You think about what you've done, little lady. Make up with your friends.
Yes, play nicely.
Well, I don't think these are my friends, and there's no playing nice with them.
Well, words here.
Yeah, sounds like you're jumping to some quite extreme, fuck me, my brain has died.
That does sound quite extreme.
Conclusions, perhaps?
That's the one. Based on not much evidence, you're jumping to some quite extreme conclusions.
So, Igneous, tell me then, why do you want me to drag me down into the depths then?
I already told you, everything's better down there.
You left
Well,
me
what-
and I've come back to bring you down.
You know what, Iggy? I can't believe how ungrateful he's being. Just go to the pub. You coming?
Did we ever meet? I don't think we did.
I don't think you
You
did.
did
No.
because
Did you?
I got you to egg me on to drink that thing that turned
Oh
me into
yeah, you
ice.
did. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was Barry Beasley.
Yes, it was.
That was
you
not
guys should,
Barry, but I thought that was. Oh yeah, no, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
I was really hoping for a while that I'd get to play it as some like horrible abomination of just flesh after I got reconstituted.
That was weird.
Maybe you guys should stick it out between yourself before you're sort of accusing me for stuff. Don't you think?
So Igneous keeps trying to pull your arm one direction, and Barry keeps trying to pull it the other. You notice some weird sort of tentacle creatures coming from the direction Igneous came from, and some very angry-looking birds coming from the direction Barry came from.
Iggy, where you going? The pub's this way.
In
Well-
Toyland.
Since my dear friends aren't much help, I will probably do a double spinning slash by this time.
Okay, roll. You try and spin around, all you end up doing is just sort of swapping places. So you basically like manage to break their grip, but then they grab your other hands.
Okay, spinning slash number 2 then.
Okay. You, you jump up in the air, and this gives them more traction. You find yourself being stretched quite badly. Both of these ghosts are not
Alrighty,
willing
guys.
to let you go now.
Should probably do a strength competition here because I'm probably a lot stronger than these two tiny
You're not getting
bastards.
away. I'm covered in sticky honey.
That's another quite extreme assumption you're making there.
Yes, I am, but I can't do anything else with you guys chatting about over there. So,
Well, I haven't been this entertained in quite a while.
Yes, an old kind of gladiatorial tug of war. I don't quite know what this voice is doing today.
I've been stuck between the two accents for a while.
It's really quite difficult to go from one to the other.
Now I know why voice actors are paid so much.
so Igneous and Barry, what would it take for you to leave me be? You can't both have me.
Well, as low as you come with me into the sky.
Well, and then, Barry, you have to get rid of Igneous here because he wants to drag me down in the depths. So I think you have to take care of him first, otherwise I won't be able to make it up to the sky with you.
I mean, he's got a point, Igneous. Just let go.
But the depths! The depths!
But the sky.
The sky is for the big people. The depth is where it's at.
At this point, the ground begins to start shaking, and you hear the sound of something gigantic moving out of the direction closest to Mrs. Butterwoth and Professor Sinister. And you see a gigantic gingerbread man walk towards, going... Seems to be reaching out. He's trying to savage Mrs. Butterwoth.
Now we're back to Shrek.
Anybody have some milk?
Well, I could help you, Mrs. Butterworth, but I'm quite sort of tied up here in the moment, so yeah.
Well,
It's gonna be a problem.
you've been playing with your friends. I am getting savaged by a gingerbread man.
Well, how many gingerbread men have you savaged through your life then?
That's fair. But I also did bring many into this world.
And then put them in the oven.
Yes, that's how you make gingerbread.
At this point, you also hear a commotion and a group of what looks to be hippies start walking towards Professor Sinister, all holding up signs with "Share your power"
There.
and "Hug it out."
I will never share power. I have unlimited power.
Well, then it shouldn't matter if you share it because you'll never lose any.
Curse you and your baker's logic, Mrs. Butterworth. And I shoot lightning at the hippies.
Okay, roll.
It's the only reasonable response.
You shoot lightning at them, you don't seem to hit any of them, and they just seem to be more, like, pleased by the fact that you're shooting lightning at them.
Bah! I forgot that hemp is notoriously non-conductive.
Guys, I think we should sort of figure out a way to get out of here, because this is probably just some imaginatory stuff coming at us due to the
don't know.
smoke.
These bruises seem quite real.
Mrs. Butterworth just standing there and taking the beating from this gingerbread man.
I'm more imagining she's a bit like huddled over, but I feel like there's not much you can do against.
Right, well, we'll start at the top then with Mrs. Butterworth. What are you doing with this gigantic gingerbread creature?
Can I plead with it?
You can, yes.
Please, I'm just an old infirm lady. I didn't mean it, but your kind is so delicious.
It seems to be slightly placated by your pleas, but seems to still be quite angry and want to eat you.
Oh, have mercy. I'm very bony.
Okay, we'll go to Professor Sinister next.
Yeah! And I'm shooting more lightning.
Okay, roll. Nope.
Oh, for crying out loud.
And then we'll go to Stu, who's being almost torn apart by Barry and Igneous.
This way, this way.
Noah's gone to the school.
Well, I will use my immense strength and just draw them together to knock their heads to each other.
Okay, roll. Yep, you managed to pull them together. You don't manage to knock them out, but you managed to smack them off each other.
Oh no. The sticky honey I'm covered in is my own doing.
Since you two guys doesn't seem to get your heads together, I have to do it for you, so you can come to a conclusion.
The gigantic gingerbread monstrosity just roars at Mrs. Butterworth, doesn't do anything else. The hippies...
Oh, dear.
The hippies all crowd around Professor Sinister, hugging him and telling him that it's okay.
No.
One of them even pushes a daisy in behind his ear.
Oh, that's the final straw. You
And
pay the price for that one.
Igneous and Barry have a continual tug of war against Stu and go back to just pulling on her arms, not doing much more. The birds just sort of start swooping in near Barry and start trying to peck Stu. And the tentacles wrap around one of Stu's legs and begin to start pulling her towards the side that Igneous is on. So we're back to Mrs. Butterworth.
No, you won't want to eat me eyeball, skin and bones. Why don't you try that rather scrumptious looking dwarf over there?
Roll a persuasion. Just do a roll
I
meditate.
have been working out.
It shows.
Nope.
Oh, no.
He looks over and looks back at you with his very sort of jelly bean-like eyes and goes,
It's been a long time since I've had this kind of attention, and part of me enjoys it, but not like this. Not like this.
Okay, it's now the Professor.
No more flowers! Okay, for like a big burst of lightning.
Okay, roll. Nope.
Fuck's sake.
If anything, you make sort of starry effects and everyone is mystified, like, see, you can do wonderful things.
That was really rather impressive, Mr. Sinister.
I am nothing but impressive, but it was not what I was intending to do.
Okay, we're now on to Stu, who's being slowly pulled in 3 different directions.
Stu is just gonna really give Barry a really, really hard and tight hug for all her might. Just cling
For
to him.
one arm, okay. Roll. Yep, you sort of wrap your arms around Barry. Barry seems to take it as a sign you've chosen him, whereas one leg and your other arm is being pulled the opposite direction. It's getting quite good traction towards the depths.
My honey traps finally worked.
Yes.
All that
You,
honey,
Barry. Get your birds to help us get out of here.
Okay, the gingerbread monstrosity actually does something. Let's see what he does.
Oh dear.
14. Right arm. 3. Bruise. He manages to try and take a bite out of Mrs. Butterwoth's arm, but he doesn't have proper teeth. So he just kind of noms it and bruises her arm.
I'll come you right back.
The hippies are all congratulating Professor Sinister on doing his best.
Whoa, that lady over there is giving out gummers.
Okay.
You don't have to leave that in the edits, right? It's just a joke for me.
Oh god, okay. Igneous and Barry. Barry manages to pull Stu towards where the birds are. Igneous slips and loses his grip for a second.
Oh, fuck.
The tentacle doesn't seem to be able to pull back against Barry as strongly. So Barry is now pulling Stu close to where the birds are all coming in from.
Victory! Your name is Barry.
It's
Here
now
we go,
back
Barry.
to Mrs. Butterwoth.
I'm gonna spit my teeth out and gum the giant gingerbread.
Okay, roll. You spit your teeth out and gum it. It tastes very strongly of ginger, and you find your tongue is on fire.
Oh, who made this gingerbread? It's terrible.
It's now the Professor.
4th time's the charm.
It's more lightning, is it?
You No. Apparently not.
The more encouraging everyone is, the least damage Professor Sinister's lightning does. He can barely get a
dark
spark
side.
out as people are putting their arms around him and telling him it's okay and just come back with them, you can share their power. And he's being
The dark
led.
side is not strong. Yeah.
He's being led slowly away into the smoke.
No.
It happened to my ex-husband too.
Got led away into the smoke.
It's now Stu.
Since she has both her arms free and is kind of out of this, we're gonna pick up Barry and run with him straight into the big mosh pit of Professor Sinister and his followers.
Okay, roll. Yep, you manage to pick Barry up and you run with him into the hippies. Everyone seems to get covered in honey.
Hello there, party friends. Now this is much more fun. The more the merrier. Come on, Barry.
So there's
you know you
now
want it.
about 8 of you lying in this big heap, all covered and stuck together in honey.
Oh, this robe is velour. This'll never come out.
Well, I can leak it off for you if you want to.
No.
The gingerbread monstrosity just roars at Mrs. Butterwoth.
Eat me.
The hippies all playfully start undressing and start offering Professor Sinister new clothes that all would match them.
Ah.
Barry is like stuck to a couple of the hippies. His honey seems to be spreading further than you remember. Igneous.
So viscous.
Igneous is just lying on the floor. He can't move. And this massive puddle is spawning around him. The tentacle is also, like, finally broken free of Stu's leg and is trying to sort of wheel its way back towards her very slowly. So we go return to Mrs. Butterwoth.
If you just wanted feeding, why didn't you say so? Have a butter candy.
Are you going to throw a butter candy in its mouth?
Yes.
Okay, you throw the butter candy into its mouth. It seems to sort of react for a couple of seconds like it's swallowing it, and then it continues to roar at you.
Have another butter candy.
Okay, what is
You
Professor
should come
doing?
over here. Mrs. Butterworth, to the party.
I've had quite enough of this hippie shit. Statistically speaking, I shouldn't get another low roll.
You might get a 1, which would be hilarious.
You know what? I'm gonna switch to the other dice pot.
Yes!
That's
Embrace your
the
luck.
best result I've had in a while.
It's double figures, it is, yes. You spark some lightning. All it seems to do is melt the honey on people, and there's a nice smell in the air of really floral honey.
That's a start. If I fail here, I can get a job at Glade making plugins.
Okay, it's now the honey-covered stew.
They're not all winners.
Well, Stu is gonna charge over at the big gingerbread man, see if it needs like a honey coating.
Okay, roll. You run over and sort of charge into the gingerbread man. The gingerbread man falls over onto the ground and you land on top of it, coating it in honey. It flails
There you
sort of
go.
miserably on the ground.
Have some honey.
Let's see, does it get up? Yep, it sort of rolls on top of you, pinning you to the ground and roars in your face. The hippies are too distracted trying to, like, stick flowers to Professor Sinister to actually do anything. Barry gets back up and starts walking over and starts trying to drag Stu towards the birds by her ankle. Igneous finally gets back to his feet and grabs Stu's other ankle, and the two of them pull in different directions.
Right, this way.
The tentacle also wraps around Stu's ankle and starts dragging her towards the hole. So Stu is currently being dragged very much in the direction of the hole in the ground with very deep, deep water.
Hope you could do a split.
There will be no splitting of the stew.
Famous last words.
So it's now back to Mrs. Butterwoth.
There's enough stew for everybody.
I feel like I should dust myself off,
Okay. Is that all you're doing?
seeing as I am free from... It's a process, right? I'm trying to think.
It's a gingerbread monstrosity basically on all fours in front of you, like side on, and it's like having the person that's pinned to the ground being slowly pulled out between its legs.
Well, quite frankly, I think we should give them a little bit of privacy if they're being this intimate. Who am I to judge?
Or you could use a rolling pin on the both guys dragging me in different
I mean, my husband was into that kind of thing, but I don't think I know you quite well enough.
No.
I will take my rolling pin, and I shall use it to murder the gingerbread man.
Okay, roll.
The rolling pin
You-
death streak continues.
Crack the gingerbread thing on the head. It notably has a crack running down it, and it roars really loudly.
Let him go. He wants to spend time with his friends.
Okay, we're on to the professor.
Right, let's get rid of these hemp-smelling, flower-popping, free-loving hippie scum.
As you sort of put your hands out to do lightning, two of them, one on each side, take your hands and start trying to lead you, dancing round in a circle.
Well, that lightning just seems to be for show, Professor Sinister.
No, fuck
You
you.
a show magician of some sort? Yeah, don't have any real power. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to rub a balloon on you, Mr. Sinister?
That might help, yes.
So it's now Stu.
Yeah, I will just start shooting my crossbow at Igneous.
Okay.
With
roll.
one arm.
Natural 20, you shoot Igneous through the head.
Oh, fuck.
So Igneous sort of disappears into shadow, but the tentacle is still wrapped around your leg.
Smoke and mirrors.
What's one down? 3 to go.
The sky wins.
Okay, it's the gingerbread monstrosity, who is currently trying to use the honey that's on him to fix his head. The hippies are slowly dancing around in circles, skipping in circles, trying to take Professor Sinister off into the shadows. Barry is trying to drag Stu by the ankle towards the portal with all the birds.
Come on, Stu.
The tentacle
It'll
seems to
be
be sort
good.
of slightly less powerful now that Igneous is gone, and is still trying to drag Stu towards the water portal, but it doesn't have as much strength as Barry. So we're back to Mrs. Butterwoth.
Well, I feel like I should continue to try and destroy this manifestation of my inner demons.
Okay, what are you going to do?
I'm going to hit it with a rolling pin.
Where are you going to hit it?
I want to try and hit it in the neck section so that its large, lolloping head will roll off.
Okay. You seem to just look up and whap it, and you seem to hit it straight in the chest rather than the neck. One of its gumdrop buttons falls off.
Not the gumdrop buttons.
So it's now the Professor, who has a hippie in his
Okay.
hand, skipping him away.
I've had just about enough of this. Lieutenant? And my summon minion is finally going to do something.
Okay, roll.
Been following me around the whole time. You just can't get the staff these days.
A minion appears behind you, lifts the back of your cloak, and starts dancing along with you.
Alpha, this is not what I intended. My rolls tonight have been statistically improbable, I do have to say.
Well, I think it's entirely because
yes.
you swapped dice bot just as it was impossible for you to roll lower.
Yeah.
Oh god. So it's now Stu.
Crossbow to Barry.
To Barry, okay, roll. Yep. You shoot Barry in the shoulder. Barry seems to start bleeding honey.
Ooh, not cool. You do that for.
Well, you're much too much of a sweetie for me, you know. I'm getting kind of bitter. Over here.
Okay. The gingerbread monstrosity. Oh, enraged by losing one of its buttons, it goes for Mrs. Butterwoth. 12. That's the right arm again. 1. It bites off Mrs. Butterwoth's right arm.
No! That was my rolling arm.
So,
Good that you have your bashing arm still left then.
Mrs. Butterwoth is now missing her right arm, as blood is now pouring down the side of her. And this gigantic monstrosity is chewing on her arm. The hippies are still dancing and singing with Professor Sinister, and nothing much else is happening. Barry is sort of nursing the wound in his shoulder and is not really doing anything. And the tentacle pulling Stu quite forcefully towards the pit. It's now back to Mrs. Butterwoth.
Just stop it, go away. Nobody can know that I baked my husband's ashes into gingerbread.
Natural 1. Oh god, what do you do?
Instant karma.
Let's see. 13. That would be your right arm, but would just have to be in your chest. 1. I don't know how you managed this, but you managed to break your own ribs with your other arm. So Mrs. Butterwoth is now lying on the ground, bleeding from the mouth.
At least if I'm dying, it's with my husband's ashes gingerbread man.
This is the professor.
Mr. Sinister, who there?
Yes, I'm here. Would you like me to finish you off?
I just wanted you to know that I loved you.
Okay. I'm very flattered.
I would have been happy to be Mrs. Butterwoth Sinister.
Look, I just didn't see our relationship going in that direction. I feel we never really clicked on that level. Not really the kind of girl I usually go for.
I see.
Look, you're great. You're great. Trust me.
And with that, I have a grief-stricken heart attack and die.
Okay, Mrs. Butterwoth is tragically dead.
Please award a kill to Professor Sinister.
No, that's the professor.
I actually have a broken heart. It wasn't the blood loss, or the broken ribs and the perforated lung.
It was rejection.
Oh, well, you talk about
Between my own husband and my possible future husband, I died.
Well, about time for me to be getting out of this particular pickle. That's how
Try
I talk.
lightning again.
I'm gonna pop open the flubber vial that I had in from the last episode,
Yes.
pour it on my shoes, and try and jump out of the pit.
Okay, roll. Yep, you fly off into the sky. Out of reach.
And there he blows.
It's now just Stu.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start to swing my trusted sword at the tentacles to begin with.
Okay, roll. Yep, you slice through the tentacle like flies off back into the water and disappears. The only thing
That
left
does-
is Barry. The gingerbread monstrosity begins to start fading as Mrs. Butterworth dies. The hippies all rush over and start trying to help Stu back to her feet. Barry convinces them to help carry Stu into the portal. So, it's now back to Stu.
Well, I'll swing away at Barry and the lot.
Okay.
Aiming at Barry, of course. Good
Natural
one.
1. Oh dear. 9. Left leg. 17. Broken. You managed to swing, you managed to catch yourself in the knee with the hilt of your sword and break your left leg.
Sweet.
Do you want a second swing?
Of course.
14. Yes, you swing, catch Barry in the side of the neck. Once again, he seems to collapse to the ground. He's pouring honey from his neck. The hippie seems to stop for a couple of seconds and try to sort of ask him if he's okay. The hippies also begin to fade. So it's now just Stu lying on the ground with a honey bleeding Barry.
Now that I'm out of the pit, do I see Ebony Darkness anywhere?
Nope, you just back out. You're standing in the public park with this massive, black circle in front of you leading into this pit.
Just gonna dust myself off.
At this point, you hear Barry go, "It's time for the birds!" And a gigantic flock of birds swoop down to try and attack Stu. On that note, it's back to Stu.
Yes. Swinging on Barry.
Okay, roll. Yep, you again catch Barry. You slash him across the chest. Again, he seems to be leaking honey. He doesn't seem to look very healthy. Second swing. Nope, you don't finish him off, but he is very close to death. Barry retreats towards the portal and stands at the edge of it as these hundreds of birds start pecking you and slowly dragging you somehow, as a group of birds only can, towards this hole.
Cool.
It's now Stu.
I keep swinging.
Nope. Second swing. You just miss Barry. Let's see what he does. He grabs Stu by the ankle and starts pulling her through the portal. Oh god, the birds. The birds may have just killed themselves.
These astrally projected birds.
Self-combusted.
As soon as Barry goes through the portal, dragging Stu one leg behind, the birds all disappear, the portal disappears, and Stu's leg disappears. So, Stu is now lying at the bottom of this pit with one broken leg and one leg that's removed at the knee. What's he gonna do now?
I did better than Igneous did, at least.
Yeah.
Barry has escaped with Stu's from the knee down on her left side. No, on the right side, sorry. She's broke her left leg.
Professor Sinister, can you hear me? Can you throw down a rope or something through the hole?
Well, looks like this is all wrapping up.
Would it be ghosting to mention the fact that Mrs. Butterwoth did have a mysterious vial on her from last week?
Very well. Kind of pat myself down, find no rope. I'll be back shortly with rope.
Thank you.
And I go into town to go get some rope.
Okay.
I don't have rope. It's not in my inventory.
You're going shopping in the meantime. There's this weird eldritch chasm in the middle of the public park.
Let's see what
An old
happens.
lady and a maimed old lady.
The chasm begins to slowly close as Professor Sinister walks away.
Well, it's late now.
Well, I think Stu is just gonna probably eat the magic mushrooms she got the last episode and see if she maybe can start flying out of the hole.
Roll for window shopping.
So as Professor Sinister wanders trying to get good prices for rope and won't pay that,
Might stop for coffee on the way.
okay, is Stu going to try and fly out of there with some sort of potion or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
Roll to see the effect these things have on you. You manage to gain some sort of hovering ability, but it doesn't hover you that high. You manage to basically float enough that you can just stabilize yourself to walk without legs. But that's about it.
Ooh, this is nice.
How does one walk without legs exactly?
Well, she's kind of hovering in the air, so she's managed to balance herself so she can sort of hover without needing legs. You still don't understand, do you, Barry?
It's not walking though.
No, it's sort of
just
hovering.
floating.
It's hovering, as I said. So,
You said walk without legs.
okay,
as a-
hover
as a-
without legs, Barry.
As a final act, Stu is just gonna. I have a crown still in my inventory,
Mm-hmm.
which I haven't put on yet. I'm gonna put that crown on.
So, as the void above you closes, and Stu is lost, possibly to be found again later.
She might have gone through the portal, floated through it.
Well, we'll have Stu being lost beneath the earth with ability to sort of hover in the air wearing a crown. We will cut back to Professor Sinister, who turns back up later on having bought a very short piece of rope to find that there is no longer a void.
Sipping my coffee. Bloody macchiato, nasty.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about the burial.
Wonder where that voice is coming from.
It's your
Well.
conscience.
It's your heart telling you how much you regret not confessing your true feelings.
As Professor Sinister returns to the inn and probably has to explain to Frankie where everyone else is gone.
I might just not bring it up,
Okay.
It seems time has run out for this week at least. Join us again next week for more of this tale. These bard's tales were originally told to us around a campfire in a long-forgotten land as Descent Journeys Through the Dark. They were adapted for this podcast by Nikolai Popsky. All music was written and performed by Daniel Boström. The cast of Plummet are Nikolai, Daniel, Bellery, Amy, AJ, John, Squid, and Ash, with additional content by Dragon. If you would like your own high fantasy dice, then journey to dndice.co.uk and use our name Penance RPG at the checkout for a 5% discount of your order. For what is a hero without shiny loot? As for us, we are but meager bards. If you would care to support our tales, you can buy us a grog or two, or Ko-Fi, as it is known in your parts, at ko-fi.com/penancerpg. If you would like to support us in future efforts, we have a Patreon at patreon.com/penancerpg. Farewell and good night, dear listeners. and remember that time will turn again soon. It's only a game, isn't it?
We should have tequila sunrises at sunrise.
Oh god.
Then you wouldn't be so stressed out about the recordings.
Bold of you to assume I'll be awake that early.
I mean,
I
I
won't be
probably
awake
won't,
that
but
early.
We can bang on your door and say, AJ, it's time for tequila sunrises.
Yes.
I'm going to be
Or,
honest, I was kind of banking on the fact that no one else would be up that early,
Please
is the
don't
fact that I get away with saying it.
Good.
Yeah,
to
but
get
Ellie's not a
monster.
morning person.
I don't sleep,
Absolutely
so...
not.
Well,
But we
get them
remember
up.
that from trying to wake him up after tabletop this year.
Oh, yeah.
We have video evidence of this now.
It's on our Twitter somewhere. Anyway.
I mean, it was never a secret that I'm not a morning person.
This is true. And points at Stu and also says, Barry,
Oh shit, what did he sound like? Fuck.
he sounded brummy.
Oh, 1 sec, give us a minute to remember what John sounds like.
Barry B. Beesbury.
Beesbury?
You left
Bit
me to
Liverpool.
die as well.
Now we're back to Shrek.
Frank?
Shrek.
Oh, Shrek. I was going to say, fuck Frank.
Fuck, Barry.
Shrek is life. Shrek is life.
One of its gumdrop buttons falls off.
Not the gumdrop buttons. I can't do that voice apparently.
You monster!
What was the voice? What was the voice?
I will add to the list of voices that I can't do.
The gingerbread man from Shrek.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that sounds like.
You
It's up there with Irish.
Yeah, it
and
was sort of like
German.
English sounding. Yeah.
Just kind of squeaky, is it?
Yeah. So,
Not the gingerbread buttons.
close enough.
Suppose next time I run into that Ebony Darkness fellow, I say to myself, should probably tell him his mother's dead.
Whom. That's like the Inception noise, by the way.
Oh, God.
I keep making a habit of just coming up with familiar relations with Barry's characters after they die.
Sorry, I'm into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So-
retconned it so that I murdered my husband and baked him in a gingerbread.
So,
This could be the origin of Ebony Darkness. Like, he knew that happened and was like, I need to be more hardcore than that. I can't be out hardcore by my mom.
His original interest in the cult was trying to bring his dead father back, or his dead grandfather back, or whatever. But he just raised a gingerbread man. He was really confused. And didn't realise it was actually his dad.